In September of 1609, explorer Henry Hudson was sailing up the New Jersey coast aboard his ship, the Half Moon. He first stepped foot on our soil in Atlantic Highlands on September 3rd. While in search of fresh water, Hudson and his men first met with the native Lenape people. Though interactions started out friendly at first, they were warned not to do two things: drink from this spring, which was considered to have magical properties, and disturb the sacred land around it. While Hudson's crew seemed eager to listen, the captain himself did not. What happens next was an unfortunate chain of events that may have led to Hudson's untimely demise less than 2 years later. Before exploring the river that now bears his name, Henry Hudson and his crew on the Half Moon arrived in the waters of Sandy Hook Bay on September 2nd, 1609, and observed the hills of the Navesink Highlands. The next day, Hudson and his men came ashore in what is now Atlantic Highlands. Some went fishing and others hunted, but the search for fresh water was the more important task. They were soon greeted by the Lenni Lenape, who were described as magnificent and dressed in elk skins. Their earliest interactions were amicable, as both sides traded goods, and Hudson was gifted green tobacco. However, as they neared the site of the spring, they were warned that the water itself was for healing and the land was sacred, possibly a burial ground, and to not proceed. The crew heeded the warning, but Hudson forced them toward the spring to collect water anyway. In so doing, the land was trampled upon and desecrated. They would make it safely back to the Half Moon later that day, but their journey, which had been relatively tame, would begin to go awry. Several men became mysteriously sick, and 3 days later, on September 6th, a small crew on an exploratory mission in the bay was suddenly attacked by the Lenape, who rowed up alongside them in a canoe. 2 men were wounded, and another, John Coleman, was killed, shot in the throat by a stone-tipped arrow. He is the first recorded European to be killed by a native in New Jersey history. It took until the next day for his body to be recovered, and sources indicate he was buried in one of several places, 2 of them being in the Bayshore area: Point Comfort in Keansburg, or what was then the tip of Sandy Hook, which Hudson named Coleman's Point in his honor. Hudson remained in the area until September 9th, having 2 more incidents with the Lenape, another round of friendly trading at sea, and then one final attempted attack a day later, when the Half Moon escaped for the New York area under a hail of arrows. While his exploration of the Hudson River was a success, their expedition was plagued by peculiarities. The ship encountered constant problems with its masts, rigging, moorings, and sails, which inexplicably tore. With each passing incident, the crew thought back to that day at the spring where they were forced by their captain to drink the water. Their relationship apparently never recovered. Less than 2 years later, on a separate expedition in Canada, Hudson's crew mutinied and set him and several others adrift. They were never seen again and were presumed dead shortly after. But did any possible curse come to an end with their demise? It would seem so. In the centuries to follow, many continued to drink from the spring without issue. In the 1830s, a local merchant pumped water from the spring down to the bay and charged 5 cents per barrel to visiting ships. Towards the latter part of the 19th century, the site became a tourist attraction, and the town of Atlantic Highlands even considered building a statue of Hudson on what is now Mount Mitchell Overlook. This project never came to fruition, and the spring and Hudson's local notoriety became somewhat forgotten until 1977, when the Atlantic Highlands Historical Society cleaned up the area and placed a small plaque. But in recent years, the spring has been largely forgotten again, and is overgrown with weeds most of the year. The water is no longer safe for human consumption. According to a Weird New Jersey article a few years back, the apparition of Henry Hudson's ship can still be seen navigating the waters near Sandy Hook, looking for a safe place to land. Now, I don't know about that, but what we do know is that things never really were quite the same aboard the Half Moon after Hudson forced his men to drink from this spring. Was it all just a coincidence, the result of a Lenape curse, or just plain bad luck? Ghosts on the Coast investigates to see if there is anything strange happening at Hudson Springs.
I heard 4.
Are any spirits here? We're probably the first people to ever try to contact anybody here. So if you can hear us, we want you to talk to us in a loud and clear voice. Who's here with us? Are any of Henry Hudson's men with us? Is it safe to drink from this water? You want to have a drink from this water? Not that they would speak English, but I wonder if there's any Lenape Indians here.
Is this a sacred ground?
Who killed John Coleman? How did he die? There's one there. Do you know who John Coleman is? What ship explored these waters in 1609? Is this place sacred? Female.
In there, yeah.
Can you repeat that? Yeah. Something's trying to come through. It's hard to make that out on playback, but it's important to note that when you first investigate a place, like to be the first people to ever investigate a place, sometimes you get nothing. Sometimes it takes a while for the spirits to get warmed up. And I think we were the first people to investigate at the Halliburton Memorial. Years ago, Pat and I were the first people to investigate Brookdale campus. And, at first not get anything, and then as it goes on, you get more and more. So right now, if there is anything here, it might just take a while for them to get rolling, because they've never experienced anything like this. And then again, there may be nothing here at all. So we're going to see. But right now, I think we had the same male voice on a couple of sweeps, which is a good start. And we don't know who we might be talking to. Or Lenape people, Hudson's people. There were American and British soldiers in this area during the Revolution. There was a train line that ran right along the Henry Hudson Trail, the Jersey Central Railroad. So there's a lot of potential people we could be speaking to here. Should we go someplace else? No?
It's safe.
Safe?
That's a female.
Heard of. Definitely one syllable. What year is it? Good thing about this is we're not really getting any radio words at all. This is like straight up white noise, which is a good sign. In case we do get something, we'll know. Maybe let's move farther down that way. getting better results. Hudson and his men would have landed on this shoreline. But from what I've read, probably a mile or two that way towards the Atlantic Highlands Marina. But they were definitely all over this area. So I don't know where it would be a good spot and what wouldn't be. We know they were here physically, but they were also up and down this whole area. I heard this is it. Male voice, this is it. Is this where you want us to stand?
3 words right there, and then it just went dead.
Yeah. To the naked ear, it sounded like X marks the spot. Has anyone ever tried to contact you? So far, nothing incredible. Couple responses here or there. You heard a little more than I did when we were walking that way.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. Let's try by the actual water itself. Well, the Strauss spirit's like you. Maybe the rest of them are kind of iffy.
I don't know if that said 3, or what, but a woman came through.
I heard a woman.
I thought it said Greg. I thought it said Greg.
Well, they shouldn't know my name.
No, you just said
I didn't hear.
It was a woman.
I just heard like a syllable. I didn't hear anything like specific. It's me. All right, now all of a sudden we're getting worse. It's weird. You move like 50 feet in either direction.
Yeah, no, not all these rocks
And
are
don't capture his death on
stationary.
camera.
Sure, we got a good spot.
He'll be a
Right
real
there is good, and right here,
ghost caught on camera.
That's where my foot went under. That's where my foot went under before.
That was for mine. That didn't. That was for mine. That didn't.
Well, hauntings are generally associated with running water. There's plenty of that here. We got the bay. We got the historic water dripping from the spring here. And,
Already a lot more up here than I was
Yeah.
there.
there was a guy named Bud that used to come up here. There's like the legend of Bud's grave or something, which I don't really know much about, but he is dead, so you know what? Let's try to talk to him, and that was relatively recent.
Hey, bud.
Do you remember that, Bud's grave or something?
No.
Some weird New Jersey thing. Supposedly not far from here. He had like somebody built a memorial to him or something.
Do you think it's true that spirits can't cross water?
I don't know. I mean, there's ghost ships, but I guess they're trapped on the water.
Yeah, they're trapped at sea though.
There's a legend I read about John Coleman's death that for a while the Dutch actually believed his ghost was haunting the seas. And I don't remember what the word, it was a Dutch word for ghost, they called him specifically. Kind of like a Flying Dutchman type deal, but for John Coleman, the guy that was killed, that was part of Hudson's men, which he would have been killed right within view of where we're standing now, probably closer towards the New York side of the water, but I mean, he wasn't killed here. I'm still using his name, hoping that maybe something will recognize him. Or can we talk to John Coleman? How did John Coleman die? What piece of land is that out there in the water that we can see from here? Is there any energy here? Can you feel any energy where you are? Does this water have any healing properties? Yes. I know it's not safe now, but was this water ever magical? Female voice. Do you drink this water? I'm gonna get the K2 meter since we have a place action.
Yeah, it's dark enough right there.
And we got, it's 43 degrees. Feels a lot colder than that with the wind. We're at a 0.5, which normally, I think baseline Strauss Mansion's like 0.2. Sometimes it's 0. So we're at a 0.5. I don't know if that means anything, but can we talk to Henry Hudson? If his apparition is still sailing these shores, maybe we can talk to the captain himself. Henry?
I wasn't paying attention, but the millimeter went up to 0.1.
So what?
It was at before it went to 0.9, then it dropped to 0.4. Now it's at 0.5.
And that's a steady 3 K2 meter.
Now it's at 0.4.
And none of this is confirming anything, but it's just nice to have present in case we get something if something spikes at the same time. So is Captain Hudson here?
I heard he's.
Where is he? The Dutch believe that his spirit and John Coleman's spirit are still out there in the water, haunting the seas.
What? Maybe?
Bring them to us. Bring Hudson. Bring the Half Moon over here. Let's see the ghost ship appear on the horizon. Come on.
Imagine that. That'd be crazy.
We wouldn't have to ghost hunt anymore after that. I don't think. Capturing something like that. I mean, there's an Asbury Park Press article of that guy Bud we were talking about from maybe just 5-10 years ago, him drinking that water. It was considered healing. People travel from all over to drink this water back in the day. It was, like I said, it was a tourist attraction. They had a bridge built right there.
Yeah, nothing at the water. We're just trying to get something with the water. Not like a shot to make it look nice. It's like something there. I don't know. I thought it said smart. A woman said smart.
Who are we talking to?
Is this the spring where you drank?
Are there any Lenape here? Is there anyone here from the 1800s when Jersey Central Railroad was down that trail?
No.
You can't see any train tracks?
It seems to do better when we hold it.
Yeah.
Unless it's able to
Hold
use.
it.
Unless it's able to use our energy more.
I think it just said hold it. Has anyone ever tried to talk to you before?
No. Nail there.
Would you like us to leave?
Something.
Was this a burial ground?
Something right there.
Who's buried here?
People? I heard like an E, like people. Do you know who's buried here? Okay.
Same. That was a name. That had to have been a name.
Two distinct words.
It was like
there
done.
it is again.
Done. Same voice too.
Any last questions? I think I've asked all of mine and then some.
So my 3.
Any last message? Any last message before we shut this off? All right, I'm going to shut this off in about a minute. So if you have anything, if there's anybody here that wants to talk to us, Patrick's going to burn some sage for some healing and cleansing. You're welcome to join us. Just don't follow us home. We're going to burn some sage now, which of course the Lenape and other tribes would have probably used in their practices, and hopefully some nice peace and cleansing and healing.
It's actually burning really well here. I've never had it burn this well before.
Yeah, it's doing good.
Put in like your own words. Nah, that's fine. Ash is just burning the hell out of my hand though.
Maybe I should run this while that's burning, see if we get anything. Keep trying to close this episode out. It's like, oh, let's do one more. Let's try
Keep
it
going
again.
with it. It's fun. There was nothing that came through.
It was a very much in spurts. 5 minutes of one thing after another after another.
And 10 minutes, nothing.
Right, and that's common. It's also good because it means it's not radio words and just random stuff. So